Hello everyone, my name is Akshay Kumar Dattatre Bhagat and today is 18th of July 2022 and it's my original video. So our today's topic is the MVC architecture. So before going to our today's topic, first of all we will see what is the client side and what is the server side. So basically suppose we are having an user. So the client side is an user side. Means in this we are having the we can take the example that is we are having two users. Means one is a human user and the another is an the user human which is using the machine. Suppose take example of laptop. So actually how the actually it everything flows from user side to client side, so that we will see first. So basically take an example that only we are having one user. So the user actually gives a request on the by the link by the http. So http is nothing but the hypertext transfer protocol. So it is universally accepted protocol in which in this medium every browser knows the http language, so which is understandable by the browser. So basically if we take any server, then this server accepts the http language. So if we hit user hits the url, then it goes to the server side. So if we'll take then example of if we'll hit any link on the browser, at that time that request has been gone to the server, and this request is transferred by http. So in http, that is hypertext transfer protocol, it carries the request like postman. So if we'll take example of an postman, so postman carries the letter and it delivers to the address. So the postman doesn't know what we have written in the letter or anything else, but it delivers the letter to that address. So like this only, this http request has been goes to that address. So then it goes to the server side. So in server we are having basically MVC, which is meant by model, view and controller. So we will see one by one. So when we the http request, so we if we hit the url, then our http request goes to the server. So basically when it goes to server, at that time in server, first of all the http request come to the controller. So in controller we are having a bunch of methods. So it is having different types of methods. So when the user hits our URL, then at that time it goes to the controller. So controller is bidirectional. So it whatever we are calling the method, at that time it gives to the model, and then through controller our request goes to the model, and in model if we look, then the model actually receives the request from controller, whatever method it is calling, then that method is called to the model. And the model is nothing but it is a temporary data storage, or it is having stores the data into the variable, and then this model is connected to our database in which we are having all our data. So the model is also two-way, means it passes of our variable or our request to the database, and it communicates with the database, and it receives also information from database, and then it again gives to the controller, and then the model is an intermediate communicator, we can say. It just takes the information, gives the information to the database, and takes the whatever we want information, that information that is getting from the database, and it again gives to the controller. So when the data which is we want, that is gone to the controller. So directly the controller cannot gives the, means whatever we are having, that is actually into the binary code or anything else. So that is again transferred into the view. So in view it does the function, that means uh, it actually sorting, or it decorates the data so that which the user can be understandable. So this data then again through the http response, it gives back to the user whatever the user will understand in a easy way. Means it can have tables or any sorted form or any colorful. So that is actually done in the view side. So basically this is all our structure. So if we'll take one example of our ERP. Then our ERP, basically when we hit our URL on the browser, that is http dot slash hefshine slash ERP slash. So this request goes to the controller. So if we want to log in, at that time we put our username and password in our text box. So in this if we hit the login button, so this request goes to the controller, and controllers calls the method of login. If the method is created at the backend, so this method has been called by the login method has been called by the controller, and then this method is again goes to the model, and in model our username and password is gone to the model. So that model saves that username and password into one variable, and it verifies in the database whether it is having username and password is correct or not of that user. And if it is correct, and then it again takes back model take back that information, and it gives to the again controller. So again controller gives it to the view. And in view, so basically in view we are having, suppose if we are working on Java, at that time the in view we are having HTML or CSS or JavaScript. So it is basically a client side languages. So this request has been gone to the user by a HTTP response. So in HTTP response, as user will understand, then the user interface has been looked to the user, and if it is not correct, then it will show an error. So that is actually everything is done into the coding part of view. But if we'll see the theoretical point of view, then this cycle has been completed. So it is having n number of methods which is controller is having. So in controller all these things are going, and the model is and just temporary data storing, we can say it as. And in database whatever our data is having, so that is been stored into the our database. And in database our model has been communicating with the database, and it gives to the controller, and again controller gives the response to the view. And in view the user understandable data has been converted, and it is shown to the user. So basically this is all flow of our means server side to client side, how the flow is occurring. Suppose if we want to download any video, so we hit the download button on the browser. So at that time, actually if we are having video or anything big file, at that time it will take a long time. So at that time the when we hit the request of download, at that time the download method has been called. But as it is having a long file, at that time it is divided into binaries. Means the our 10 MB is 10 MB. Suppose take an example of video, that is it is having 10 MB of size. So it is divided into equal parts. Means it is having small parts. So if then the our controller sends the request to the database or anything else from which the our video has been downloaded. So it takes into the parts, and it combines it, and then the combined video has been downloaded into our browser, so that the long chain has been avoided. So if we are having long chain at that time, it can create means an error, because there are many persons which uh, the user has been the, there are many users which are using ERP or any other browser. So at that time it takes complication. So to avoid this, this is been divided into binary codes, and that is bunched into the controller, and then controller gives to the view, and then gives to the user, whatever we are having user. So basically this is the total model view controller architecture. So